Welcome to New Mexico Restaurants Now, where you get the inside scoop on the food scene across New Mexico. This episode is sponsored by The Hand Solution, providing high-quality hand sanitizer at a competitive price. Stay tuned to the end to hear about their special offer. I'm Carol White, CEO of the New Mexico Restaurant Association, and our guest today is Irma Leal with Leal's Mexican Restaurant of Clovis, New Mexico. Laura has continued her family's tradition of fine Mexican food in eastern New Mexico. How are you today, Laura?
I'm doing great. How are you, Carol?
Very good. It's a good day here.
Great.
I'm so happy to have you here. We met how many years ago? You were Restaurateur of the Year of the Restaurant Association, 2016. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah.
And it was an honor and just very humbled by that, and just so happy to be a part of it and being a part of the association has really been great, and I'm happy to be here, and I'm happy.
Well, wonderful. Hey, so I've not been, and is it Leal's or Leal's?
It's Leal's.
Okay, all right. So tell me about Leal's, how you got started, and then from there.
So I grew up in Muleshoe, Texas. I have 5 siblings, so there's 6 of us all together. Mom and Dad were originally from South Texas, down in the valley, Mercedes, Texas. They moved to Muleshoe. They married in 55, moved there. Daddy was working in Muleshoe, and they came back, got married, came back, and made their home there. And Mom grew up in a neighborhood tortilla factory. My grandparents made tortillas. I believe probably that tortilla factory was established around 1929. So that's how long they were in the tortilla business. And my mother grew up making tortillas. So when she moved to Muleshoe, she always had a dream and saw the need because there were no fresh tortillas being made at the time. So they got a tortilla machine, got started on May 4th, 1957 is when they started their business there with a very small tortilla factory. And it's grown from there. We all grew up. I was born in 1964. And so I think the first time I remember bussing a table was about 6 years old. And so we all grew up and working together alongside Mom and Dad, and learned a lot. And so I graduated high school in 83 and studied music for a while at Texas Tech University. And I thought I'd take a break from college. Came back in 85 to Muleshoe and helped Mom and Dad manage there, and learned a whole lot more about the business and the recipes and cooking, and learned directly from Mom and Dad like we did all our lives, really. And then in 88, I decided to open a restaurant in Clovis, New Mexico, and I've been here ever since. And in 2004, I opened my second location here in Clovis as well. And both of them have been thriving up until, this year with everything going on with COVID, but we are still operating out of one location. And so that's kind of my journey to where I'm at right now.
So you were born and raised in the business. That's interesting. Yeah. A lot of people got their, first feel when they were in teenagers, but you've been in it for a long, long time.
Yes.
So pretend that like I don't know anything about your restaurant, and tell me about the atmosphere.
So the atmosphere is very family oriented. I mean, we're just, of course, full dine-in restaurant. And we seat about 100, like I said, we seat about 150 at one location. The other location's at 170, but it's just very, we just make you feel like home. It's all of our customers that have been longtime customers. Just even when I opened my second location, everybody said we still go to the first one that opened in 88 because that's just home. And that's really what we get, is like they just feel at home there. And where it's nothing real big and fancy or anything, but it's really nice, very clean, and great service restaurant is what we've been providing here for 32 years, going on 33 in January.
That's wild. So tell me about the food. Now you call it Mexican food, but is it New Mexican or Mexican?
It's Tex-Mex style.
Okay.
All of the recipes were developed by my parents, and I think a lot of that came from some of my daddy's mom's cooking and some of my mother's mom's cooking, like our carne guisada, the chile con carne, all those things that we serve. The enchilada sauce, I remember when Daddy was teaching me how to make that. I guess the when I look back at what Mom and Dad started, they had to really perfect these recipes because, you know, everybody learns how to cook small at home. What they really worked hard at was perfecting it and consistency and making these bigger batches. And so like our enchilada sauce, you know, the chili pods, back when I first learned how to make it, Mom and Dad were still soaking big pots of the chili pods, and then just everything is from scratch. There's nothing that we serve that is not made fresh daily. After a few years, Daddy came across a really good chili powder that we've been using for probably over 40 some odd years now. And but before that, you know, we would do all the chili pods, blend them, do all that. It's just and the spices that we've been using are a brand that we have not wavered from for probably 50 years. So anyway, all of the cooking is homemade, fresh every day, and but it's consistent. And I think that's what we really attribute our success to, is that it's people know what they're going to get when they come in every day.
They know what to expect. So what's your favorite menu item?
So my favorite is the Bryant Special. And the reason it's called the Bryant Special, I mean, if you ever been through Muleshoe, you know, it's a small town, about 4,500 people. And back in the day, a lot of the customers that would come in would just walk straight to the kitchen and go tell my mom what, you know, my mother was working the kitchen. Daddy was always in the front. He was greeting the people. Mom was cooking. Anyway, they'd go to the kitchen and they'd just kind of look at everything Mom had on the steam table, and they'd say, Irma, I want this, that, you know, they kind of point to what they wanted. Well, Don Bryant was a farmer there, longtime, beautiful family. They were always really great customers. But anyway, he walked in one day, went back there, and he said, I want a flour tortilla, and I'd like a little bit of that stew meat and some beans in it and some chile con carne and cheese on top. And some mother fixed him up, and everybody else was watching him eat that, and they wanted to know what it was. So we called it the Bryant Special, named after Don Bryant. And that would probably, that with a roasted jalapeno on the side is my favorite dish. I could eat 10 of those a day. But anyway,
sounds fabulous.
And the carne guisada is so good. It's really, really good.
And is that your customer's favorite as well, or do you sell more of something else?
So what we call our favoritas on our menu is the Leal Special, which consists of an enchilada, a taco, a homemade tamale, beans and rice, our enchilada plates, and the Bryant Special. And I would venture to say that those are our three most long-time popular plates. I mean, we have a lot of stuff on our menu that we've developed over the years, but those were the staple items and core items on our menu that we are still probably our biggest sellers. Probably besides the fajitas, but when Mom and Dad started, they didn't have fajitas back then. We added those later on. But yes, those in our hand battered chile rellenos, our chile rellenos are amazing, and those are the most popular items.
So for somebody who doesn't know what a chile relleno is, can you explain that?
Yeah, so we use an Anaheim pepper that, you know, they'll either come from Mexico, California, depending on the, we try to buy everything that's more local. In fact, we were just featured on a Good Taste TV, and I actually did the chile relleno recipe. But so it's an Anaheim pepper. We roast them, peel them, stuff them with cheese, cheddar cheese. And then our batter is, of course, it's an egg batter. And it's got to be just right, because I don't know if you notice some places or sometimes you'll get a chile relleno, it'll be a little bit greasy. So there's a lot of art that goes into making these hand battered chile rellenos. But what tops it off is our Española sauce, which is another original recipe that my parents have that goes on top of the chile rellenos. And it's got celery, bell pepper, onions, and a tomato-based sauce that goes on top of that. And then we top them with more cheddar cheese. And you can't quit eating them. I mean, I could eat them just straight out of the fry later. You know, when I learned how to make chile rellenos when I was in the 8th grade. That was a long time ago. I just remember that was my after school job. It was homework and then go help with chile rellenos. But anyway, they're the best. I promise. If you ever drive through Clovis, you have to stop. And we've recently added a crispy chile relleno with our hatch green chili con queso, which is also a Leal's original recipe. And we can't keep up with those either. Those are, made with buttermilk, and they're crunchy, but we use the Anaheim pepper in those as well. So
Fun. Well, I used to, one of my restaurants, Japanese, we had a green chili tempura, and I always thought of it as kind of like the nod to chili relleno, and everybody loved it. We loved it. And I, of course, adore chili rellenos. So tell me where you're located, because if I'm driving through Clovis, where do I head?
So the first location open here is right on Highway 60, 70, 84. So it's called Mabry Drive in Clovis, New Mexico. So you come down the highway. We're actually right on the edge of town going out of Clovis. The Texas border is just probably 10 miles from there. So we're right as you're going through, you'll see us on the left-hand side of the road. And then the second location is more central on 2115 North Prince Street. And we're, God hoping we'll get that open back one day, but that one's located more centrally in town on Prince Street.
So kind of bringing that up, tell me a little bit about your struggles since this pandemic has started. I know you've had to close one of your restaurants. That must be heartbreaking.
Yes.
And right now we're only in New Mexico. We're only open at a 25% outdoor capacity in the middle of December.
Yes.
Are you getting anybody on your outdoor patios, or do you even have a patio?
So I do have a patio. When all of this started, I remember it was March 18th when the governor announced that we had to shut down to just to go and, to go carry out business. And the week before that, I believe we had gotten put down to 50% capacity. So with the two locations open, it wasn't going to warrant having two locations. We weren't doing enough business and of course, with the onset of all that. So I did shut down the second location on Prince. And at that time, I had nearly 100 employees employed between the two locations. So I just decided to keep the Mabry location open because I have more parking out there. I had a little bit more room. I had a little more land to work with, if anything, not knowing what was going to happen. And we have battled when we didn't have a patio. So we did the makeshift patio, the canopies. We did all of that, went through all that. It helped. Of course, during the summer was better, but of course we're having to battle the heat, and it was hard on the employees to be out there serving, but having a makeshift. And then we finally just added on a patio on the east side of my building that has worked out really well. And, but of course, with weather permitting, we don't know from day to day right now when we can and can't open it, but we're trying our hardest to, if it's 50, 60 degrees outside, we have a ton of heaters in there. We're trying to make it as comfortable as we can and make do. Of course, with the 25%, we have a waiting line sometimes waiting because we're limited on the seating. But with Mexican food, people want to eat it there. They want it hot. They want it on those hot plates. We run all our food on the plates through an oven, and it's a little different. I mean, we've done great with the carry out. And people have been really, we've even fixed a lot of to-go orders for people, just have them ready to put in their ovens at home. We're trying everything to accommodate under the circumstances. And honestly, before all this, I could probably tell you what our sales were going to be every Monday and Tuesday, and we haven't been able to do that. I don't know from day to day. We're working hard and waiting on God basically to help us. The sustainability is unsure right now, to be honest. But we've been blessed with the people here in Clovis and the surrounding communities for all the support. And we're offering free delivery within a 20-mile radius to cover everyone that we can, and have some really good, courageous employees who've been helping us with the curbside and trying to provide that same service we give inside, outside on the parking lot. And so that's what our goal is. And hopefully we'll sustain.
Yes. Well, it's looking like it's going to be June before we get back open again. And it's super sad because I know it's I know this, 25% opening outdoor is not sustainable, really.
Right.
And we've got to do something for our restaurants. And of course, the Restaurant Association is doing as much as we can, trying to get relief from the federal government. And then as soon as the state legislature goes in, we'll be trying to get relief from them as well. So what does keep you motivated through these tough times and beyond?
My employees, and I think the legacy of our family business means a lot. And but more than anything, to seeing those employees, and we've been able to hire some back that were at our second location, just because doing business this way. I mean, when we went to all to go, and just out of that first location, which is smaller than the second location, my exact seating is 147 there. So when you go to a to-go business and you're trying to take care of as many people as you can, it's almost like you go to a 400-seater restaurant with all those orders to go coming in on some days because the phones are just ringing and ringing. But them being courageous to be there and go through these changes and all the transitions we've had to make, sometimes day to day, sometimes on the same day, and all the effort they've put in, because I've got some of my employees have been with me for 20, 25, some 30 years. A lot of them probably no less than 10 or 12 years. And I've been blessed with their dedication, their loyalty. And what really pushes me to find ways and to get creative is to make sure that we can still help them get some food on their tables for their families, and just not wanting to give up. My mother's 88 years old. I go stay with her a lot so that she's not alone. My father passed away about 11 years ago. And my mom, I think the strength from her and all of their experiences growing their business and thinking back about how they never gave up gives me a lot of courage and strength. And mother, her mind is still very well intact, and she's retired, but she's still we have other locations. My family owns, my sister has a tamale factory in Lubbock. I'm here in Clovis. My brother took over the one in Muleshoe. My other brother has the tortilla factory because all our tortillas are made fresh. But she still worries about all of us. She still asks all of us every day how we're doing, how is business. And I just think her encouragement, her strength, and knowing what they went through, and then my employees are what keep me going, and knowing that we have to find a way to make it, God willing.
Well, I certainly appreciate that. And is there anything else that you want to share with folks?
Well, I know it's a tough time for all of us. It's for everyone. Number one, I do want to thank you, Carol, and the Restaurant Association for everything and how hard y'all have worked to help our industry. And I share that with a lot of folks, that there's a lot of work going on behind the scenes to help keep us and give us hope. And I appreciate that. And I just want to tell everybody to not give up, and we're all in this together. I mean, I guess, the thing, knowing that we're not alone, none of us are alone in this. We're all battling this together, and just to remain faithful and take everything a day at a time is all we can do right now. And just thank y'all for everything, Carol.
Well, those are fabulous words, and thank you. It's hard because I feel as helpless as you do and almost as hopeless, but we're going to get through this, and we're going to be better on the other end. And thank you for being here, Laura. And another thank you to our sponsor, The Hand Solution, who provides high-quality hand sanitizer and disinfectant at a competitive price. Order your NMRA restaurant kit today on thehandsolution.com/NMRA. And thank you all for tuning in to New Mexico Restaurants Now. You can watch this and other episodes on the New Mexico Restaurant Now YouTube channel, and you can subscribe to the audio podcast at Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Amazon Music. Thanks to The Hand Solution for sponsoring this episode, and thank you, Laura, for being here.
Thank you for having me, Carol. I appreciate it.